and welcome to Good News Friday. Mike Simon is here. I'm Joey Yarber. Hey, happy Friday, everybody. Welcome in here. We really do. We appreciate you giving us the chance to talk and just kind of share a little bit about the good news that we're hearing, because let's face it, there's some bad news out there. You hear it all the time. Anytime you turn on the TV, you hear about some bad stuff. You pick up the newspaper, it's all bad, right, Mike?
Yeah.
But here's the positive thing. We're working together. We're solving some of these challenges. These crises, they're temporary. We're moving forward. We're working together. And when we are working together, hey, we're solving all kinds of different things because we're better together. Collaboration and being able to focus in on the collection of data, whether it's an agency here on one end of the United States or an agency over here on the other end of the United States, or let's say somewhere in Tahiti, or somewhere across the ocean, as we talk about, the agencies that are there in Europe, wherever you are. The great thing about it is this is web-based. If you have access to the internet, you have access to CharityTracker and Oasis Insight, and you can keep track of your data. I'm talking about an agency, Mike, that we spoke with this week, the focus in on disaster relief, right? But they have agencies scattered throughout the entire world. How do you keep track of all of that information? And let's face it, man, some of the catastrophes that's going on, we heard last week about this tsunami that hit there and it really devastated a lot of these islands and areas, and just a lot of different types of challenges all throughout the world, wildfires, hurricanes, tornadoes, you name it. But an agency that is able to work together with other agencies, and then this lead agency being able to collect all that information, CharityTracker can do it.
Wow. And, so much disasters that happen, and you can't calculate for them, and you don't know what to do when they get here.
Wow.
And so that's why we talk about preparedness. And CharityTracker gives you the preparedness that you need, and then it gives you the more of the response that you need. And so this data that we collect for disaster recovery is valuable, and it's valuable in tracking. It tracks the tragedy, it does. But at the same time, we track the transformation. We track what happens to people from the time of crisis, and we track them all the way to sustainability. And so that's what CharityTracker is all about.
Mike, when you're looking for that outcomes type focus, you got to be able to establish goals, right? It's a step-by-step process many times, and it's not instantaneous. It's not overnight. So after all the emergency relief vehicles leave, the news media is gone. And frankly, this was a disaster that happened a few weeks ago. Who's working? Who's transforming these individuals that many times have suffered every single loss that you can possibly think of? Loss of a family member, loss of their dwelling, their house. They have nothing left there. But here's the positive thing, being able to focus in on that type of data, that information, being able to set those goals, work on that current status of that individual that's been there as a part of this disaster, to get them to where that they can be. And, we talk about this all the time. There's all kinds of resources in a community, but you got to have it streamlined. You got to have it focused like a laser beam. And when you've got a crisis like this, being able to focus in on that data is gold. And that's where our agency conversation consisted of this week, being able to allocate funds, right? A lot of money that's there and available, but you got to have that allocated appropriately with good stewardship and accountability, being able to focus in on where the funds are going. Let's streamline that effort. Let's get the relief to those that genuinely need it. Let's track the status along the way. Let's get them out of this place of crisis and to a place of self-sustainability. Now we're talking about real disaster recovery, CharityTracker, Simon Solutions. So honored to be part of these kinds of conversations. We're not tracking tragedy. Our focus is on focusing on transformation. Proud of that, Mike Simon, as we are getting our minds wrapped around how we can better serve our communities. And it's exciting to see the conversations that we're having right now and the capabilities that we're able to provide. Healthcare. Let's face it, we're going through one of the greatest healthcare crises that we've ever had in the United States, and it continues to be quite the challenge. We had a conversation during this week with a health organization in Texas. Their focus is on bringing everyone in the community together, working with the focus on health care. Let's work in collaboration. Let's refer, if you will, an agency that perhaps has someone that visits them, doesn't meet the criteria, if you will, in a hospital type scenario for admittance into the hospital, but they still have a healthcare crisis. It may be something chronic in nature. Medication is what they really need. They need a wheelchair. They need the capability of building a wheelchair ramp, crutches, those kinds of needs. And the hospital can't provide them, or the healthcare agency can't provide them. But there are those within the community that can. Being able to pull up the services index there in CharityTracker, make that referral from that patient type scenario to the agency that can help them. Many times, Mike, one of the reasons that someone is sick is their immune system is depleted. They don't have proper nutrition. This is a food insecurity issue. So being able to refer them to an agency that can provide them with food, now we're equipping that patient with that next step. Again, focusing in on the transformation process so that when they are turned away from the healthcare agency, they really are handed off to the people that can now help them and care for them further. This is exciting developments that we're seeing because, COVID, it doesn't matter whether it's COVID. Prior to COVID, we were seeing these types of challenges, but being able to get the person the need that they need met, that's where we're focused on.
And with that health, community health, you got the social determinants of health.
Exactly.
Poverty and the food insecurity and all that. And the hospital can't handle that.
No.
It has to be the helping agencies. And if they will just simply work together for common good and greater impact, then people have a chance to live a healthier and a happier and a more meaningful life. It's all good. It's all good.
Somebody asked me the other day, it's like, what's the feature you really get excited about in CharityTracker? And I said, well, it's not necessarily a feature, but it's a capability, and it's a capability that works seamlessly and being able to accomplish the goal of working together, and that's collaboration. Collaboration, we're working together, we're strengthening our communities, whether it's a food insecurity focus, a shelter homeless type dynamic, or we're working from that healthcare dynamic. We're able to work effectively together and get the people the kind of care that they need, whether it's an emergency type care or it's long-term. CharityTracker and Simon Solutions can help you with that, and we're honored to be part of that. CollectiveCommunityImpact.com. A lot of information there. We document a lot of these stories that we hear because it's so important to have that, if you will, testimonial. Here's someone that went through the same thing that you are in your community. Here's what their steps were to make it happen to where they're now equipped. They're equipping their agencies in the community, and they're able to strengthen their community working together. We're documenting a lot of this and very excited about what we're hearing with the success that's going on with our agency members. CollectiveCommunityImpact.com. You can always get in touch with Mike or myself here at Simon Solutions, Mike at SimonSolutions.com, or Joey at SimonSolutions.com. We're in this together. We here at Simon Solutions are honored to serve in your work, and we're thoroughly honored that you allow us to be part of it. Hey, take care, everybody. Have a great Friday. There's some good news for you all over the place. We'll talk with you soon.